Imagine for a moment the silence of deep space, vast, cold, eternal, and then a sound. Not a sound you hear with your ears, but one you feel in your bones. A cosmic thrum, growing louder, resonating with a profound, unyielding hunger. Far off, a distant sun winks out, not from natural stellar decay, but consumed, its light extinguished in an instant. Then another, and another. A dark, impossibly large shadow begins to drift across the cosmic canvas, blotting out nebula and star fields with an indifference that chills the soul. This is the prelude, the approach of Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds. And as that shadow falls closer, closer still, the next target becomes horrifyingly clear: Earth. For the heroes of our planet, the Avengers, the arrival of Galactus isn't merely a threat, it's an existential crisis. It's not a battle they can win in the traditional sense, not with fists or even with energy blasts. He is a force of nature, a cosmic necessity, beyond good and evil as we understand it. His hunger is absolute, unyielding. When Galactus sets his sights on Earth, the Avengers don't strategize to defeat him. They fight to buy time, to innovate, to somehow, impossibly, make him turn away. Their initial encounters were predictably clashes of unimaginable scale. Thor wielding Mjolnir with all the fury of Asgard, Iron Man unleashing every ounce of his repulsor power, Captain America leading the charge against a being whose mere presence warped reality. These weren't fights for victory, but for survival. They were desperate last stands, where the very fate of humanity hung by the thinnest thread. Galactus was the ultimate adversary, a symbol of the universe's indifferent cruelty, and the Avengers, the steadfast protectors, stood defiantly against his cosmic appetite. They were Earth's shield, battered and bruised, but unbroken. But what happens when the universe throws something at you even more terrifying than the Devourer of Worlds? What happens when the cosmic rules, already incomprehensible, are thrown out the window entirely? This is where the story of Galactus and the Avengers takes a turn from straightforward conflict to something far more intricate, more pragmatic, and profoundly reflective of what it means to be a hero. Picture this. The year is 1984. A new, unfathomable entity emerges, a being of pure, omnipotent power known only as the Beyonder. He plucks heroes and villains from across the cosmos, transports them to a patchwork planet called Battleworld, and forces them into a perverse gladiatorial contest, all for his own twisted curiosity. This isn't about hunger. It's about absolute, unchallengeable dominion over reality itself. And amongst those plucked from their natural existence, Galactus, the Devourer who usually causes cosmic upheaval, found himself a pawn in a game far beyond his own scope. His very existence, his cosmic imperative, was threatened by the Beyonder's whims. He needed to absorb energy, to feed, to maintain his own colossal form. But the Beyonder's unpredictable powers made that impossible. Suddenly, the cosmic predator was vulnerable, even desperate. The Avengers, trapped on Battleworld alongside him, were faced with an impossible choice. Their sworn enemy, the being who had often threatened to turn Earth into a lifeless husk, was now, in his own way, a victim of a greater evil. Could they, should they, ally with him? The idea was repulsive, counterintuitive to everything they stood for. Yet, the Beyonder's actions threatened not just Earth, but all of reality, all of existence. The lines blurred. Survival necessitated an unthinkable alliance. They didn't form this alliance out of friendship or trust, but out of cold, hard pragmatism. Captain America, always the moral compass, understood that some threats were so absolute that conventional morality had to yield to the desperate need for survival. They provided Galactus with the means to restore his strength, aiding him in his own futile, yet necessary, attempts to challenge the Beyonder. It was a bizarre, uneasy truce, a silent acknowledgement that when the universe itself is on the brink, even the most formidable foes can become reluctant, temporary allies. Years later, this same grim calculus would be put to the test again during the epic Infinity event. The universe faced a new, ancient threat: the Builders. These beings were not driven by hunger or curiosity, but by a chillingly precise, destructive mandate. They moved through the cosmos enacting a cleansing protocol, wiping out entire civilizations with cold, mechanical efficiency, deeming them unworthy of existence. Their power was immense, their purpose unwavering, and their path led directly to Earth. Once more, Galactus found himself caught in the crossfire. The Builder's destructive path threatened the very cosmic balance he represented, the intricate dance of life and consumption. A universe wiped clean of all life was a universe without planets for him to consume. In a strange, cosmic twist, the Devourer of Worlds found his interests aligning with those who sought to preserve worlds. The Avengers, now seasoned veterans of cosmic crises, didn't hesitate as long this time. They had seen this script before. When the Builders launched their invasion, Galactus stood not as an invader, but as a crucial, if terrifying force aligned against them. He became a weapon in the fight for existence. His immense power, previously turned against Earth, now directed at a common, even greater enemy. It was a stark, brutal demonstration of the principle: the enemy of my enemy is, for now, my necessary partner. This complex, often contradictory relationship between Galactus and the Avengers offers us a profound insight into the very nature of heroism. It teaches us that protecting reality isn't always about clean victories or clear-cut morality. Sometimes it demands uncomfortable alliances, impossible choices, and an unwavering commitment to the greater good, even when that good requires shaking hands with the devil, or, in this case, the Devourer. What are your thoughts on these strange alliances in the Marvel Universe? Do you believe the Avengers were right to work with Galactus, or should they have held on to their principles, no matter the cost? Share your perspective in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into the complex corners of cosmic heroism, please consider subscribing or following for more stories from the vast, wonderful, and often unsettling Marvel Universe.